This conference will now
This
be recorded.
conference will now be recorded. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our virtual public forum for wards 3, 4, and 5 with the city of Roswell. I'm Joe Neeb. I'm the city manager. I apologize for tonight. This presentation is pre-recorded in the first part of this. We will still take questions at the end through the chat function. Mike Mathews, the deputy city manager, will help with that. But the portion of the questions that we've already received from the Survey Monkey, I will cover that in detail. That's the nice thing about getting the questions early. We can put together some good responses, cover those topics that are important to you, and then move into those questions that come up as we walk through this. So we are trying a couple different things tonight because this portion will be pre-recorded. So bear with us as we walk through that. But thank you for joining us, and welcome aboard for tonight's virtual public forum in the city of Roswell. As we walk through the public forum, I've been asked to share if I can get the slide to change. I think I have to get the slideshow to start, so as well. Otherwise, it'll be on there. All right, there we go. Okay, so just really quickly, a shout out for our Census 2020. You can see on there the website for the New Mexico Counts2020.org. We do have a deadline of September 30th. That was, we were informed that we need to have all the census information in quickly. Just a really quick thing, it's easy and simple, and help us help you by completing the census. If we get a good count, if you'll notice out at the visitor center, we do have a barometer out there that's tracking how our return rate is for the census. And I believe it's a little over $37,000 over a 10-year period for every individual that's counted in federal funding that assists with roads, assists with housing assistance, and all of those features that the federal, state, and local governments assist with. So just a shout out for the census. Please help us help you. All right, we received 6 questions in the public forum on SurveyMonkey this last week. We're going to walk over them. These are the questions there. And then I wanted to share just a little bit of time with the 2021 budget items, just so you're aware of where we're at with the city's budget and the process that we're walking through there. But the 6 questions, of course, is that we had a request from somebody that with the water department, the monthly bill is very confusing. There was a question as to why is the city dump not open for the hours that are posted on the gate. There was a question on drainage issues during rain runoff on Southeast Main and the East Fraser. It talks a little bit about the mosquito breeding and everything. How to publicize and access public meeting events other than online. Of course, the rain runoff and drainage issues, COVID-19 policy and recovery stance. And of course, we're going to cover the 2021 budget items. So jumping right into it, our first question was, my monthly water bill is confusing. We put out some information about a year and a half ago that covered how to do the online payment of your water bill. As we looked at our records and everything, we have not put together an informational worksheet that explains how that average bill, what it looks like, what each one of the numbers, what each one of the categories look like, and then how it is all calculated. We will put that together and then get it out to everybody so that they can understand where that bill, how that bill figures the costs and such. I think one of the things that changed a little bit from previous to this one was with the smart meter project. When we replaced all the meters, we went to one common denominator for the gallons of water that goes through the meter. That was it was in part due to the smart meter project, and it was trying to help take care of that. The utility billing office will walk all customers through their bill, however, until we can get that informational worksheet out. Just contact the utility billing office. That number is right there below, 575-624-6711. You can either talk to them over the phone, or they're happy to schedule an appointment with you and bring you in a safe fashion so that they can walk you through that bill. They're there to serve and they're happy to help. Question, why is the city dump not open for hours that are posted on the gate? This was a question that came in late last week. The response for that is that even though the city has recently changed the solid waste operating hours, we have shorter windows on the weekends due to manpower and holding in the costs. But in double checking for this meeting, the sign on the gate has the correct times on it for during the week, and then on the Saturday, whereas the hours are a little bit shorter. So I'm not sure which signage was noticed that were posted on the gate, but the sign is correct on the gate for when you come in to deliver your trash and your garbage. So just being aware of that for the solid waste operating hours. Many of our other services are being reviewed and updated dates and times to meet the budgetary constraints and the COVID-19 response. I would recommend that if you have the opportunity before you go out from home, if you have to do any business with the city, just give a call. They'll confirm the current dates and times before you venture out. Then you don't have to make the trip, or we can make other arrangements for that. As always, you can contact the city by phone, by email. We'll take care of your needs in any way for that. But just make sure that you double check on that, because our hours are adjusting. We have some departments that have went back to spreading their employees out a little bit farther so that they're not all on top of each other during the normal day. So just kind of watch that as we go through COVID and the pandemic response and everything. Just give us a call and we'll help with that. Okay, along with the question was on the drainage for Southeast Main and East Fraser. On the chart here, you can see that the petitioner or the applicant that had the question, anything over 0.2 inches causes standing water for more than 1 week, which leads to prime mosquito breeding grounds. The picture on there is representative of that area and where this location is. In speaking with Louis Nahar, our engineer, city engineer, we have a little bit more information to provide to you regarding stormwater drainage down Southeast Main and down South Main as well too, in that older part of town as you go all the way up to the air center. But we've had a problem with this for a long time, the drainage, and everybody should know that Southeast Main is also US 285 and it's New Mexico DOT, Department of Transportation, right away. And what is happening is that over the decades, limited stormwater oversight on development that was occurring was essentially very little watching of how that development was happening. And I think it's indicative of the planning and zoning rules as things change. So there was limited stormwater oversight that happened along those corridors. So all of the old drainage pipes that were built underneath Southeast Main and South Main were covered up at one point or another. They were removed, they were blocked, and now the drainage has nowhere to go. So the swells that are along the main highways and everything are there, and they hold the water. They have no place to go. The city does go out and work on the ditches trying to move the water, but there is no place to take it. So all too often it sits until it goes away through evaporation, heat, or just percolates into the ground. Further information from the engineer is that in 2000, the city and the county did the South Roswell Drainage Management Plan, but then no funding was dedicated to correct the problem from the state, county, or the city. So that plan helps identify what is happening out in the area. but it has not been implemented to any point, or further analysis has not been done since 2000. And you can see on this chart here, this is the front page of that study that the city of Roswell had prepared. It included Chavez County and the Chavez County Flood Commission. It can be revisited and determine exactly how to find the funding for this, for the flooding along those corridors. Second part of this question went into mosquito control. So I wanted to share a little bit about this on the other side, because it is a partnership and a joint service that is provided through the county, with the city contributing $50,000 up to $50,000 a year for what's called vector control, and that's for mosquito treatment. Vector control talks about the spraying for the adult mosquitoes, as well as the little I guess tablets that go into the water that kill off the mosquito larvae. And so that $50,000 that the city contributes to the county helps provide for the detention ponds and the areas that normally hold water to be sprayed and treated. The street department calls out vector control for special areas. And of course, vector control is called to spray special event locations. So when those events for like 4th of July festival or Hike It, Spike It come out, we do additional spraying in those areas because of the extra people that will be in that area. Just so you're aware, if you do see standing water anywhere within even the road bedways and you're concerned about the mosquitoes, just give us a call. You can use the Fix It form online at the website. You can call the city engineer, or even contact the county directly. And that area, as you identify that area, we'll get it on the list and we'll get the crews out there to help take care of that. All right, next question. Then this is a pretty big question. I've got a few slides to cover with this, but how to publicize and access public meeting events other than online. And I want to walk into this thing because we've done a lot of work on this, and we continue to try to find ways for outreach and reaching out to you. This is even these public forums, virtually or in person, are the same thing. Is that we're trying to find a way for transparency and communication to the public. But I will tell you that it is a very challenging subject, and there is no good, inexpensive solutions. Some of the information I'm going to share to you comes out of the citizen survey that we have now completed our second survey. So the first one was done in 2017. Second one was done in 2020. We kept the 2020 survey out open a little bit longer because we have not had nearly as many people respond to that survey. So you could go online on SurveyMonkey and still respond to it, but the information is good, and so we're going to be there. But on both of the surveys, the following question was asked: how would you rate the city's efforts to involve residents in the decision-making process? And I'll go through some of the percentages as to how people rated the city of Roswell for involving residents. And then for the current survey, we changed the questions a little bit because we want a little bit different detail. But the current survey, the following questions were added: are you satisfied with the information on the website or social media pages? And how do you prefer to receive City of Roswell public information? And I will say that last question will come back to help answer this question as it was given by our citizen through SurveyMonkey for this public forum. All right, so walking through some of the details, and this is some of the analysis that we start to look at, but how would you rate the city's efforts to involve residents in the decision-making process? You can see the chart over on the left side of this the screen. It shows the 2017 responses, the 2020 responses, and you can see each one of the ratings for excellent, good, fair, poor, very poor, and don't know. If you look at the responses first, the percentage of the responses declined So we went from 637 responses in 2017 to only 136 in 2020. And we even extended out the time of our survey. But if you look through the percentages, and that's really what we want to look at as well too, because you can statistically, you can kind of determine how close and what those changes are. But our increased responses for excellent, good, and very poor increased. And so there were greater percentage of people that rated us an excellent, good, and very poor from the 2020 census or survey. The decreased responses are fair, poor, and don't know. And so fair went down, poor went down, and don't know went down in their responses from 2017 to 2020. I would say that, the nice thing about this is that those that are in that middle realm of the fair have chosen whether our ability to involve residents has gotten better or gotten worse. And then I really like that the don't know percentages have went down. So half the people, I think there were 22 individuals in the 17 that rated the 3.3% don't know. We had very few that said, I don't know how the city involves their residents in the decision-making process. So this is information that we'll continue to build on. We'll share it with the city council, trying to determine how much better we can involve the residents in the decision-making process. And it all starts with the communication and the transparency of what we are trying to do. So we watch these numbers and we try to figure out exactly how these percentages work into our efforts of outreach. Are you satisfied with the information found on the website or social media pages? And again, the format of this slide is about the same. You see the responses over on the left side, and then some of the details of what we interpret this information to be. In 2017, we started with, if yes, were you satisfied with the information found on the website? From 2017 to 2020, we've increased the number of outreach points, the social media, all the different technology that is out there trying to get information out to the public, because you can't always just get it online, and what are those best ways? But with regards to this question itself, as you look through that, you can see that the percentage of the responses declined. We went from 617 responses in 2017 to 135 in 2020. As you walk down through that, all of our responses for very satisfied, satisfied, neutral, unsatisfied, very unsatisfied, all increase in the responses. And that's really a nice feature to see, that there has been some improvement of the information. And if you go out on our website right now, you'll see the new format, the access points in order to get to the City of Roswell information. But all of our responses increased for this question. And the decreased responses are in the area of don't know. So we went from 21% of the people that didn't know if they were satisfied with the information on the website or social media pages down to 2%. And that's a good thing. That means we're explaining how to find the information a lot better than we had been in the past. Now this one comes back and it goes right more into detail with that question that was asked for this forum. How do you prefer to receive the City of Roswell public information? Out of the 135 responses, you can see the percentages over on the right side. 51.85% of the people that responded utilized Facebook to receive most of their information. The second highest is Roswell Daily Record at 17%. The City of Roswell website takes up about 15%. And you can see that number dwindles. News releases, TV is at right around 6%. Public forums at 2%. City Council meetings a little less than 2%. Less than 1% of Twitter, Instagram. We have 0% with the local radio spots. And I will say for the local radio spots, I believe that it's probably better for the education of things that are happening in the city than it is for going out and finding public information. And I believe that's why it rates a little bit differently. The community calendar on croswell.com has 0% at this point in time. But you can see the breakdown in the pie chart that Facebook seems to be becoming the predominant location for finding that public information. So we will continue to utilize that. And then you get into the website and the Roswell Daily Record. And I believe you're seeing that through the generational pieces of how our citizens receive their information. Some of the challenges, opportunities, and the did you know? One of the things that when we look at outreach, when we look at transparency, when we look at all of that, citizens receive their information from an ever increasing number of different sources. You saw that within that whole structure there. We do have to balance the need for our legal responsibility, the expense of what it costs to utilize that media to get the information out, and of course our demographics, because it's different for those generational individuals. One size does not fit all, and so that's where it's challenging. That's why we utilize so many different avenues. And so it'll be our intent to keep reaching out that way to try to get the information out there. During COVID, and it's ever changing, because during COVID, the city added the go-to meetings. That allows the citizens to participate remotely and allows everybody to pay attention to that. And I'll leave you with this little statement here. Did you know that you can rewatch all of the city council, the board and commission meetings and committee meetings on youtube.com? All you have to do is search if you go on to youtube.com, search for the city of Roswell, New Mexico, you find our logo over there. You can open that up and you can rewatch any of those meetings, so that if you want to catch up on that business. So if you're not able to log in through the go-to on the meeting the same night that it is happening, you're able to rewatch that. And again, if you have any questions or comments about those meetings, you're more than welcome to reach out to us by email, phone call, in that manner, so that we can kind of help take care of whatever questions and concerns you may have. Question on COVID-19 policy and recovery. This is a slide that we used with the city council real early into that, and there has not been very much change to our approach for COVID-19. Our approach to this emergency has always been one that is controlled and measured in response. The goal is with the approach is, of course, to limit the time and distance contact so that it will help stem the potential spread of the virus, and it keeps our essential services open. Every day, as we've went through this for the last 5 months, adjustments within the federal government and the state government have occurred as to how to increase our effectiveness of our policy and our recovery for COVID. Just so you really understand exactly what the city goes through, our professional first responders and the city administration, we meet on a daily basis to review all the information pertaining to that emergency, and to consider if further policies should be implemented to help protect the public. As we went through our cleanup, the plexiglass shields, the need to wear the mask when you're entering the buildings and everything, all of those are adjustments to the COVID-19 as we go through that. And I think it's important to note that the strategy hasn't changed much at all. We continue to try to manage it in a controlled and measured process. I wanted to share a couple things because I wanted to go back to those simple little features that help with that. And so went onto the CDC guideline website today and the guidelines, just knowing how the COVID-19 spreads. The best way to prevent this is to avoid being exposed. There is currently no vaccine to prevent the virus. There is talk from the federal government that there may be a vaccine by the end of this year. We don't know exactly how it's going to be implemented in order to get the vaccine out if it is able to get done. But I know that everybody that is appropriate to work on that are working on that. The virus is thought to spread mainly from person to person. There's not been a change from that. So between people who are in close contact with one another. Respiratory droplets produced when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or talks. Those droplets can land in the mouths and noses who are nearby and possibly being inhaled into the lungs. Some recent studies have suggested that COVID-19 may be spread by people who are not even showing symptoms. And I believe we know that that's true as well too. Those are those individuals that are asymptomatic. But there's 6 things from the CDC guidelines of how to protect yourself and others. Everyone should wash your hands because your hands come in contact with a lot of things. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact. The social distancing helps. If you're not in contact with somebody that's symptomatic or asymptomatic, then that allows you to help prevent that from spreading. Cover your mouth and nose with a mask when others are around. Cover coughs and sneezes. Clean and disinfect. And monitor your health daily. I believe a lot of the different symptoms, because I mean, if you go into some of our businesses today, they'll check your temperature, they'll ask you to wear a mask and all of that. So all of these abilities are so that you do not come in contact with it and thereby cause any of that spread to occur. And that helps within that. Just a reminder, this is something that we had put out early on about just wiping down a lot of these things out there. And I would say that early on when the COVID started up in March, it didn't dawn on me that gas pumps are an area where everybody's touching that gas pump. So wiping down that handle is not a bad thing to happen. Light switches, grocery carts, desks and tables, doorknobs, phones, keyboards, toilets, faucets, and sinks. Within the city of Roswell, for those departments that we've opened back up for in-person contact, we have increased the amount of time and activity where we are disinfecting and cleaning prior to allowing somebody else in there. But these are just reminders of what you should remember in order to help break down the virus. Okay, the last item I have is on the 2021 budget goals. Back in right at the end of July, we approved the 2021 budget. City Council approved that, and it was to produce a balanced budget with anticipated reductions in revenue and expense. We consolidated the number of our services. We wanted to continue to build the reserves for the future. We shifted our service models to meet the expected revenue, developed a more comprehensive strategy on managing projects and capital expenditures, and established a process that allows our city operations to shift quickly within these uncertain times. And you'll see that every once in a while coming up, because one of the things that we implemented as a cost-saving measure were employee furloughs. And with those employee furloughs, we have not implemented a furlough month to date, and the City Council will continue to consider those on a monthly or a grouping of months in the future. But July and August, we were able to remove the furloughs out of the budget by having more GRT than what we anticipated having. So that's what it means by having a process that allows us to shift quickly. But those were our goals, and I would say that we've met all of those goals for the 2021 budget. As a comparison, this is a chart that we use for the budget comparison. You can see these categories here: beginning cash, the revenue, the personnel, the operations, capital expenses, and the ending cash balances. From the 2020 budget to the 2021, we cut $31 million out of the budget. 24% of the budget we reduced in order to create one that we hope is sustainable through this next year of uncertainty. And so you can see all those changes within that. As the city is a customer service or a service organization, it relies heavily upon the employees. And one of the things that happened within this, we did voluntary severances. We removed any position that was left unopened at the time of the budget. And we lowered our personnel FTEs, which is full-time equivalents, from 641.5 employees of May in 2019 to 560.5 employees in May of 2020. It's 80 positions that we no longer have within our budget in order to do all of that work. There was not a department that was not unaffected by this budget and by our reductions. But I will tell you that each one of our department heads, each one of our employees are committed to trying to maintain that service to the best level that we can through this process. But I think that's one of the things that you see is that it takes a little longer to cut the grass. It takes a little longer to, we have reduced hours in some of our services. But if you let us know where the challenges are within the city, we will get people scheduled out there and get that, keep it as best as we can with the level of the budget that we have. Finally, just this last slide here, communication is the key to the city outreach. If you wish to receive a response or an explanation on any topic, please reach out directly to the city. One of the challenges I think we've had within the whole system is that with social media, there are so many different communications going on social media. We watch the city Facebook page, we watch the Twitter, the Instagram, and YouTube. We watch. We'll respond to those items that are out there. It may not be responding to the entire group. It may be a personal response, an instant message out to that individual that asked the question, but we're happy to get that information out to you. Just some of the detail here, email info@roswell-nm.gov. That works very well. You get the information in there, it will be redirected to the appropriate department or individual to respond to. Call the City Hall, 575-624-6700. Utilize SurveyMonkey. We will have surveys out there on a variety of topics and everything. If you ask the question again, what I'm trying to show you is we will respond to those questions. Social media, City of Roswell government on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. We have all those contacts out there. We keep those updated. Please come out and join us with that information. And then, of course, on the website, anything that is broken, anything that is city related, a house that needs to be cleaned up for code enforcement, all the way through the system, you can utilize the Fix-It form at www.roswell-nm.gov. It's www.roswell-nm.gov. Reach out to us, let us know what you need and where we can help, and you will get a response. Each one of the city councilors, I know this is this public forum is virtually for wards 3, 4, and 5. If you reach out to any one of your city councilors, they will respond to you in that ward. If they don't respond to you, they will forward those emails to the city administration and will respond to you. But their jobs are difficult and time consuming. They want to hear from all of you, but if you contact us and let us know, we're happy to help. I'm going to turn this meeting over to Mike Mathews, Deputy City Manager, and he will walk through the chat screen and see if there's any questions that were created during this presentation. So please let me know where we can help, and I look forward to talking to you later. Thank you.